Hey everyone, Derek Lalone here from the Morick Model Schools program. And today, what I want to talk to everybody about is Microsoft Teams. Now, for those of you that are already familiar with Microsoft Teams, it's a great way to collaborate with coworkers on different projects, service areas, things of that nature. But there is another portion of it that we can actually use with our students, and that's what we're going to talk about today. It's going through kind of the initial setup of getting a Microsoft team ready to go for your classroom. So what I've done here already is I've already logged into my Office 365 account. And just like anything with Microsoft, there is a web version, an online version, and a downloadable client. For purposes of today, I'm going to stay on the online client. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select Microsoft Teams. And that's going to open up my Microsoft Teams dashboard. So what you'll notice is I already have a bunch of teams here already set up. And this is just kind of set up for us in a way that all of our service areas are kind of included in it. So we have a distinct channel and a distinct place to talk about each individual service. We can also leverage that and do the same thing with our classrooms. So what that means is if I want to create a team for my classroom, from the Teams tab over here on the left-hand side, I can actually come down here to the bottom of the screen. And as a teacher, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to create a team. So when I select create a team, we have four different options here. So we have kind of a staff team. We have a PLC group, which is great for your peers, but we also have a classroom piece. So you can see here it leverages discussions, group projects, and assignments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select classroom, and I'm going to call this one digital citizenship. There we go. Once I'm all done with that, I can select the next button, and it's going to create my team. The next prompt that it's going to give us is the student and teacher tab. So just like a lot of other products that are out there, I can individually add my students by their email addresses, or I can create that join code where they can actually grab that join code, go in, select join team, and pop in that code. For the purposes of today, I'm going to go ahead and just add one of my coworkers as a student here, just so you kind of get an idea of what it looks like. I'm going to select add. And then this other tab is our co-teacher tab. So if we have anybody, any push and aids or anything like that, folks need access to, as far as what we're doing in the classroom, we can add them as a co-teacher with our classroom just by putting in their username or email address. But when I'm all done, I'm going to go ahead and select close. Once I select close, what you'll notice is now if I scroll down to the bottom here, my digital citizenship team is highlighted and my general tab is highlighted. So now what I'm looking at is that general tab. So you can see right here, the first thing it asks us if we want to upload class materials, or another very handy thing that Microsoft gives to us is to find help and training. So this will actually let us come out and search for different topics that we need help on right within the banner of Microsoft Teams. So you can see I can kind of scroll down and it gives us kind of anything and everything that we need getting started with Teams. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jump back. Oops, and instead of jumping back that way, over here on the left, I'm going to go ahead and select Teams and scroll back down to that general tab. And now we're back into our upload class materials. So to kind of walk you through the way that Microsoft Teams works is right at the home page here, this is kind of a general area where we can post different messages. So just like a lot of other products that you've seen out there, this kind of works as a Facebook feed. So down here at the bottom, there's a little prompt that says start a new conversation. I can come in and I can say, hello, everyone. Okay. And then automatically post that prompt. What we also have the ability to do is we have an advanced editor feature built into this. So if I come down just below the line and select the letter A, it opens up a little bit bigger of a prompt box for me. So now I can add a topic, add a subject, and I'm getting started. And now I can come in and say, please check our resources for what to do next. Go ahead and fix my resources with Grammarly. And now I have a little bit more of a message. You can see too, I have some more editing tools up here a little bit. So I also have some embedding code. I can make this a high notification important message if I want to. But what I want to kind of show you is down here at the bottom is we have a lot of different options for what we can add. So next to our little compose box here, we have our attachment. So right now I can select attach, and because I've just created the classroom, oh, there it goes. You can see these are the options that I have. So I can go into recent documents. I can browse other teams and channels. So if I've used a resource with another team or classroom, I can go out, browse for it, and bring it over. Anything that I've uploaded to my Microsoft OneDrive, I'd be able to access there as well. It also connects directly over to Google Drive. So if you're leveraging both Microsoft and Google, you have the option to add Google to it as well. And then underneath that, we have upload from my computer. So that means if you have a file on a flash drive, on your home computer, on your desktop, wherever, I can select upload from computer, and I'll upload and put that document right inside of the chat. Some of the other features we have is, a big feature is emojis. So we can add emojis to our chat to communicate back and forth with students. We also have an animated GIF feature. So we can kind of GIF up our communications with our students. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on one of these. So we've added a GIF and we've added some content within our post here. A couple other options that we need to be aware of is up here at the top. You can see I can start this either as a new conversation or as a classroom announcement. I can also set this up to where only myself and moderators can apply. A moderator in this case would be other teachers that are in the classroom. And then we can post it in multiple channels. So that way, if we are teaching multiple sections of something, we can actually take that content and post it to multiple places. But in this case, I'm just going to leave it open so everybody can apply. And I'm going to move my window here just a little bit so you can see what I'm doing down here. And in the lower right-hand corner of this box, if I select this little mail icon, it's going to post that post right onto the general tab here. You'll notice underneath now I have a reply tab. So as students log in, they can come in and reply to this. I can also continue to create different posts. At the same time, if I want to come in and give a little emoji to the post itself, I can go in and give it a thumbs up or a heart or a smiley face or whatever I'd like. But you'll also notice here there's a little 3-dotted menu here for more options. If I select that, this is where I can come in and I can either save it, I can go back and edit the content if I choose to. I can delete it. I can mark it as unread, which just means if you look over here at like Apex Learning, anything highlighted in bold means that there was new content added that needs to be examined and checked. We can copy the link to that particular post. We can share it to Microsoft Outlook. So I can take this individual post and I can actually email it through my Outlook client, which is really handy. We can set this up in an immersive reader. So with any accessibility issues with your students, the immersive reader will help out with that. We can turn off notifications. And then we can also go into more actions and create a new poll. But I just kind of want to give you an idea of all the options that are available as we're continuing to create these posts. A couple other things to kind of highlight is next to our animated GIF icon down here, there's this little not Google Meet, I apologize. This is Microsoft Teams. This is the Meet Now button. And what this will do is if I select that, it's actually going to open up a conference directly within my channel. So now I can come in and I can type in this topic. And I can automatically start essentially what's a video conference right inside Microsoft Teams for anybody that belongs to this particular classroom. I also have the ability, you can see here, to toggle my camera on and off, or I can come in and I can schedule a meeting. So that way, if I want to set up a meet later on in the week for my students, I can actually schedule this meet right in here. And when that time comes, they can come over either to the feed here, or they can come in and check their calendar over here on the left-hand side, and any meets that they have scheduled will automatically pop up for them. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Meet Now just so you can kind of get an idea of what it looks like. So this is the room, very similar to a lot of other of the video conference products that you've seen out there, but you can see I can toggle my camera on and off, my mute. I can share my desktop. I have a More Actions tab here so I can record. I can pull up a keypad, enter full screen, show my device settings if I have any technical troubleshooting to run through. But then over here, you can see here's my participant list. So here's my suggestions. Basically, what I can do is I can go out, I can click on their names, and I can kind of re-invite them to the meet, or I can just wait for students to come in, and they'll populate over here on the left-hand side. So this is a really cool feature that's built into the Teams portion. I'm going to go ahead and hang up on this call. And it just wants to ask me just for product placement how everything went, and everything went pretty well. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And now you can see right in my feed here, the meeting ended 44 seconds ago. So you can kind of see that it gives us a running feed and a running kind of timeline of everything that's going on within our classroom. Some of the other tools that we have here are kind of additional add-ons that I'll let the district decide what to add and what not to. But there is one more that I want to show you within our feeds here. And that is, let's say if I go to reply to this, there's this little, looks like a little badge button. And what that is that's a praise button. So what I can do is I can come in and I can actually engage in some digital badging just within our posts within our classroom. So I'm just going to go ahead and say, this person has a kind heart. I can add a personalized note to it. And in this case, I'm going to type in the name Schaefer, who's my student. Select preview. It looks great. And I'm going to send that praise over to him. So that's just kind of a really cool piece that's built into this platform. We want to target and notify somebody within our classroom that something needs their attention. One way to do that is through a reply tab here, or for that matter, anytime that we're having a conversation. If I select the reply option here, and if I select the @ symbol, what that's going to do is that's automatically going to pull up my class list. So if I want to notify an instructor or a student specifically, what I can do is I can select Chris's name here. It pops it in. And when I send it, not only will it pop up here, but it's going to send an email notification to Chris, letting him know that he's received a notification within this classroom. So that's kind of a brief overview of everything that kind of goes on within the post feature. Now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of work our way down the list here as far as the other pieces that are built into Microsoft Classroom. Okay, so the first one that we're going to set up is our Files tab. So this, as you can probably guess, is where we're going to take all of our content and we're going to add it to our Microsoft team. So what we have the ability to do is I can come over to the new area and I can create things ad hoc. So if I can create my Word docs, Excel workbooks, PowerPoints, OneNotes, and forms from Microsoft Excel right from the Files tab here. I can create my folders, or I have the ability to come in and upload my own files in my own folder. So if I already have content created that I want to upload to Microsoft Teams, I have the ability to come in, select this files option, this folder option, and upload that content. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and upload a folder. And because I'm working in a digital citizenship course, I'm going to come down here to this digital citizenship folder that I have, and I'm going to go ahead and upload this entire 9th grade folder of material. So you can see here it's going to upload 24 files. And you'll notice I'm going to move my window box over here. Up here in the upper right-hand corner, you can see the process of the upload. So now I can see that my content is actually uploading. If I click on the actual upload's progress, it's going to show me everything that's uploading in real time. I can go ahead and click that X and get out of it. But now you can see that this is how I can actually go in and I can add that content to my classroom. The other big part of that too is if I go back to my posts, I can go into my attachments here, and now I can actually browse my teams and channels rather than my OneDrive and Google Drive. I can come in and say, browse my teams and channels. There's my 9th grade folder, and there's my content. So now I can come in, and now any one of these pieces of content, I can come in, select that, and you can see I can either upload a copy of that document or I can share a link. I'm just going to share a link out to that document for right now. But now you'll notice, once again, in my window, that I've shared that document to the discussion post of the classroom, and my students will be able to log in and see that content as it's happening. So that's another, again, really nice kind of feature built within this. So I have my files management tab where, like I said before, we can create our own content right from here. We can do an upload. We can do a download, so we can pull content out if we need to. We also have the ability to add cloud storage. So if you have any one of these services that it's out there, whether it's SharePoint, Dropbox, Box, ShareFile, or Google Drive, you can connect those here as well and access your content right through the files area as you see fit. And then also we have the Open in SharePoint piece. So that's kind of the online sharing portion that Microsoft Office offers folks that have a 365 domain. So you have kind of a robust, some robust choices in how you want to actually, add content to your particular classroom. So that's the Files tab area. The next portion that we want to talk about is our class notebook. So what this does is the class notebook actually leverages Microsoft OneNote. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a OneNote class notebook. And you can see it gives us two options. I can either take a notebook that I've already used, or in this case, I'm just going to select a blank notebook. And in this case, it's just going to ask me or let me know what I'm getting in my notebook. So you can see here, I'm going to get some collaboration space, content library, and student notebooks. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click through the prompts here and hit next. And then you can see here, each section sets up a student's own private space. So each student's going to get a notebook with these particular sections created. You can go in, you can customize them however you wish, but you will have access to your student's class notebook once you actually get them created. So I can come in here and I can select create. And depending on how many students in your class, it may take a while for this to process and run through. So now that my class notebook is created, for those of you that haven't had a lot of experience with Microsoft OneNote, the way that this works is up here in the left-hand corner. You can see we kind of have a welcome message here as far as what the class notebook is all about. But if I click on this little arrow here, what that's going to do is that's going to open up kind of all the hierarchy that I've created. So you can see here's my collaboration space that my students have access to. Here's my content library. And then that other portion before where we actually created content for every student is if I come in here, you can see Chris Schaefer now has these sections set up for his handouts, his homework, his class notes, and his quizzes. So now every one of your students that gets added to the classroom will have access to their own personal area, and you will have access to all of that. So you'll be able to kind of monitor their progress as they're working through different pieces. Just to kind of give you an idea of how this area works is if I were to come in and let's say if I click on the collaboration space, you can see it kind of gives us an overview of what it is, but let's say I want to start creating content or discussions for my students. What I can do in this space is once I have this kind of hierarchy opened up, I can come down to this page area, select page, and name it. I'll call it discussion one. Probably help if I spelled discussion right. There we go. But now I can come in and I can actually create all sorts of different content. So I can just do static text. I can insert all sorts of different pieces. I can even record audio. So this has a lot of features like tools like Evernote and things like that have. We have drawing tools that are built in, viewing tools for navigational panes, immersive readers. So there's really a lot here. We could do an entire session just on navigating Microsoft OneNote. But I just kind of wanted to show you that when you do set up that class notebook is that all of your students kind of get an individual space that you'll have access to be able to go in and kind of see what progress that they're making. So that's kind of, the very, very, very brief overview of Classroom Notebook. As we move down the list, I want to get into the Assignments tab. So this is where we can come in and we can actually create assessments and assignments for our students. So if I come into this little area and I select create, you can see here I can either create an assignment or I can create a quiz. If I select create as an assignment, what that's going to do is that's going to give us some prompts here. I'm just going to call this assignment one. I can add a category. Let's say I want to classify this in something. So let's call this, class participation. So we can kind of categorize these however we want. Or if we don't want to categorize it, we don't have to do that either. spelled right. But I can add my tags there. So what I have the ability to do on the instructions tab is I can create individual instructions for the assignment. In this case, I'm going to say do this. Pretty fancy. But now I have the ability to come in and add my own resources. So I can select my add resources, and you can see I can select anything from my OneDrive, anything from my class notebook. So if I've created content or if I created notes for my students within OneNote and I wanted to share that with them so they have some guidance doing their assignment, I can come in and I can select anything within my classroom notebook. So any of the pages that I've created, I can actually go in and share that with my students, which is really cool. I also have hyperlinks. So if I want to add links to, videos online, resources online, anything like that, we can do that. Or if I select new file, I can create a Word doc, a PowerPoint presentation, or an Excel spreadsheet ad hoc and on the fly. I can also share content from other teams that I have. So once again, if we're talking about content I've already created in another section, I can go into that team, grab that content, and pull it out. But in this case, I'm going to, actually, let's go to a new file. So we're going to go to a new file. We're going to select a new PowerPoint presentation. I'm just going to call it test. I'm going to select attach. So what you'll notice is now that I've added that PowerPoint presentation, you can see the option right here. Students are going to edit their own copy. So if I just wanted to create a generic template for them to kind of prepare for the content and just have access to it, very similar to the way that Google Classroom works, I can create that PowerPoint presentation and every student is going to get a copy of that. I also have some additional options over here. If I select that, I can set it up so students can edit. They can open it in PowerPoint. I can set it up to open in Teams, open in PowerPoint online. So just depending on how they're working, and if they have access to their Office 365, I can just say open in PowerPoint online. When they click on it, it's going to open the PowerPoint through Office 365, and they'll be able to edit that PowerPoint. They also have the ability to download it, or you have the ability to download it, or you can just remove it. In this case too, we have point value here, so I can add 100 points to it, or I have the ability to add a rubric. So I can either upload one that I've created, or if I want to create a new one, Microsoft Teams lets us go in and actually create that individual rubric for that classroom. So once we have all that set up, I can come down and I can say, what students do I want to assign it to? In this case, I'm going to make sure it's all students, but I can individualize it. So if you do have students with IEPs or anything like that that need special circumstances and you need to upload, let's say a different version of an assignment or something like that to make it more accessible, you can set this up so you can individually send those assignments to individual students. So in this case, we're going to set it up for all students. I'm going to come in, I'm going to make it due Friday. The time due, let's say 1 p.m. And once we're all set there, I'm happy with the assignment. I'm going to select assign, and it creates that assignment. Now, my students will be able to access that content from the assignment tab. And also, if we go into the post tab, you'll see right here that they'll actually be able to see that assignment as well. So everything's kind of feeding through this general tab up here. And then finally, to kind of wrap up here, we have this grades tab. So our grades tab, if I select that, what that's going to do is any assignment, any quiz that I automatically create, that is actually going to create entries right within this gradebook. So I'll have a running tally of the grades that my students have. I can also come in here, check their assignments, and pop in the grade. So if I just say, let's say I give them a 92, then I can commit that grade directly through the gradebook. So there is kind of an integrated gradebook piece within Microsoft Teams that allow you to kind of easily manage and streamline your work in the classroom. So that's about everything that we had to kind of get started with Microsoft Teams. This is one of those softwares that, it's very robust, so we can do a lot of different things with it. And I'll end on this. These kind of 5 areas are the things that you get to get started with. If I select this add a tab page, I can actually come in and I have a wide variety of different things that I can integrate into this. So, please take a look at these at your leisure and kind of play around with some of the different options that you have. But I just kind of want to give you a very brief overview of the 5 tabs that are available to you and how, you can get started leveraging this in your classroom. And one thing I do want to point out before I leave is, as always, once you create your classroom, you have this Find Help and Training button right here. So you can go out And you can find additional resources on top of what I've talked about as far as getting started with adding your students and adding some initial content. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us here at the Mohawk Rick. And until next time, happy driving in teams.